People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, Frankfurt obviously defeated Arsenal 2-1 in the Europa League. The latest of barren results confirms our worst start to a season in all comps since I think was it 1972 or was it 1992? Either way, it's before my time. I'm a 95 baby, which highlights how poor we've been this season, people. Now, what should have been a somewhat bounce-back effect, or if nothing more, take some confidence from a victory going into a difficult game due to our form against Norwich at the weekend, we failed to do it. There should be considerable pressure on Unai Emery's position, not just because of this game, but in general. Might as well review the player ratings, people. Now, it is what it is, man. I don't necessarily feel players were poor. We let ourselves down for two very poor mistakes. Again, not following... Oh, people, my phone is froze, which is a shag. But again, not following runners, people, and just not doing the basics and doing our jobs. I would say, again, people, I had my player ratings there, and you can see my phone is dead. That is, and I haven't got my charger, so that is an inconvenience, so I'm going to have to do it by memory. Let's start with Martinez, and I keep calling him Leno, because I'm so used to that guy being number one. Give him a 6. There weren't nothing he could do. I did feel his ball playing was okay. There was a couple of times he didn't. There was putting unnecessary pressure, people, on us with his kicking, but none of the goals were his fault. I don't feel there's anything more he could do in one of the rare opportunities or appearances that he's been allowed to put on the Arsenal goalkeeping jersey. So I give him a 6, people. In relation to Chambers, I'm going to give Chambers a 6 on another day with a more positive result, feeling a more generous, a 7. I feel Chambers' application is there. He always puts in a shift. He always tries to make things happen. You can't question his commitment levels. Where he lets you down is through no fault of his own. Obviously, when you see him getting nosebleeds more or less and taking shots, and you know his quality on the final third on the ball, he hasn't quite got that. But I feel Chambers did alright today, so I'm going to give him a 6, people, really and truly. Do you know what? Again, another day I would have given Mustafi a 7 as well, but I'm going to give him a 6 because of the second half. I feel as much as Emery set us out in a poor way in how we've just been playing this season, the players have to take responsibility. Frankfurt were woeful in the first half, and we were, if you could say anything, close to superb by Arsenal standards in recent games. But regardless of if I feel certain players played poorly or not, or the manager, we have to collectively take responsibility, because while they turned it around positively in the second half, we got into old habits. In fact, potentially, that 8-minute period, the last 8 minutes leading up to probably when we scored a goal in the first half, people, we did kind of slip back into old habits, getting caught on the ball and whatnot. Second half, I have to give it to Frankfurt. They look like a different team, like a pre-season game where they're under 12 played the first half. Give them credit. So a 6 for Chambers and Mustafi and Martinez. Socrates, I give a 5. He still looks awkward on the left-hand side of defence. Tierney, I give him a 6. Xhaka, I give a 5, people. I felt Tierney was alright today. He tried to fight in there. He tried to make a couple tackles. I can't question Tierney. We just need him to get a run of games now. I feel obviously Xhaka is a massive talking point with my 5, people, not because of the rating, but because of the previous events. In a way, it was one of the smartest games to put him in, because obviously there's hardly any Frankfurt players there. Frankfurt fans, sorry, not that they're... Apologies, pardon me. Not that they're relevant to this, people, but there was no Frankfurt fans there. Because of the reduced ticket allocation to Frankfurt fans, there was less Arsenal fans. And because of form anyways, Arsenal fans that could obtain a ticket probably didn't go. Obviously, shout out to the ones that still went, but it was probably one of the smartest games in that if it was, I don't know, if it was Arsenal United on Sunday and Xhaka was put back in, that's going to be a massive talking point and whatnot. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily nice or not nice, but what I liked is that, I wouldn't say it's put to bed either, but when Xhaka looked like he was coming off briefly in the game when he had that injury thing, a lot of people didn't clap, but certain people clapped. Whether you agree, whether I think Xhaka should play for this team or not, it kind of puts to bed that talking point, and I don't want the media to run with that. But I give Xhaka a 5. What was it? In the first half, I see Xhaka try to be Ronaldinho and whatnot. And he actually put one nice ball in the first half that, again, we should have taken advantage of. He gets a 5. From what I see from LUIZ, I would have given him a 6, but I give him a 5. I feel that's his role. For me, if David Luiz if I'm his manager, he plays defensive mid all day long, because he will still make David Luiz mistakes. But I think while you'll be punished for any mistake, people, regardless over the field, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're more likely to be punished if you're in the heart of defence. Like you've seen, I don't want to talk about ifs and buts that might not be logical, but like you've seen with a couple of the penalties he's given away, if that happens in the middle of the field, that might be actually beneficial to us. So I feel he's better when he has a task to defend, but not necessarily has to be concentrated and be in position. And I felt there was decent balance. And Emery finally, that's the one thing I liked from him in recent weeks and today. He kind of saw the light in that you might as well let LUIZ mop up things, and you might play a LUIZ and a Torreira, and then you could free up a Ceballos, a Joe, an Ozil, or whatever, to have that sort of freedom in the midfield, knowing that they've got two extra bodies working behind them. Do you get what I'm saying? Or you can flirt with any other midfield combination he wants, knowing that he'd probably play them two and Guendouzi and have the flattest of flat midfield threes, and we'd be complaining about a lack of creativity. It is what it is. David Luiz gets a 5. Joe, I'm going to give Joe and Saka 7s. On another day, I'll probably take them back down to 6s, people. But I'm going to give them 7s because I felt, if anything, they had anything close to a perfect performance. Don't get it wrong, twisted people. I feel I've definitely seen Saka have better games. And I did feel second half, they both kind of died out. But it shouldn't be these young players leading from the front. And I felt, if I have to think anybody tried out there, not that I'm questioning anyone's commitment, I'll give it to Joe and Saka. So I'm going to keep their 7s. Going to give Martinelli a 6 plus a bonus point for technically assisting, so he gets a 7. Aubameyang, I guess one shot, he scored. What more could he do? He should get a 7, but in my heart it's a 6, but I'm going to give him a 7 because I have to remain consistent. I felt Guendouzi, I think Guendouzi was poor, people. I feel Guendouzi just about gets a 5. If he started with everyone, he would have got a 4, because I felt he needs to mature up a bit. I'm not scapegoating him really, people, but you don't know I'm a big fan of Guendouzi. I'm always singing his praises, but I felt he should have come onto that field and thought to myself, okay, I'm not the same player as David Luiz, but I've got to be a bit more mature. And I think his youthful exuberance to kind of go forward, while it wasn't the single factor, if that's even a word, for us losing today or losing that balance in midfield, I felt he could have played with a bit more maturity, because while he might not be there by age, he's been there, he's played enough games now. I'm a big Guendouzi fan, still remain a Guendouzi fan, but from what I saw from Guendouzi, I'm not going to give him a rating. In fact, I just think, do you know what, I'll give him a 5 just about, but it should be a 4. I don't feel Ozil and Torreira really had long enough to show what they could do. Couple nice passes from Ozil, couple poor ones. Torreira's substitution for me, people, was kind of bewildering. Not because of Torreira. I just thought, you've got Pepe, we're losing. If your job is supposedly on the line, don't you bring on a player that's more likely to score? That's just my thinking, but what do I know about anything? On that note, though, people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching. In case you're wondering why I look a bit different in this vid, like a silly idiot, I've lost the, how do I explain it, the twisty thing that goes into the camera and then allows it to sit on the tripod. I've ordered some more. Amazon Prime says it's tomorrow, but for now I have to hold it up with some innovation, which you lot are on 3 different books at this moment in time. Might put another one there so it looks a bit better. So yeah, book stands as a tripod, but it's what it is. It's just we lost this game today for obvious reasons. I mean, it's the same themes that's been going week in, week out now. Yeah, we just look to Norwich and we see what happens Norwich away, people, at Carroll Road, which on current form we probably think Norwich probably win that. But people, it's been a pleasure, man. Frankfurt 2, Arsenal 1, player ratings done.